Cool. Here we go. Lovely jubbly. This thing I know how to start. It's always awkward.
And here we go.
Hello, are we on? There we go. Welcome to episode 2 of Like I Am podcast, where we chat with different people from the music industry about lots of different things. You can see us on Instagram at Like I Am Pod or Facebook, just Like I Am. Today's guest is a man who does a bit of everything. Yeah, he does spoken work. He's been going around the we'll say country, doing lots of different lectures and stuff. He's also a self-taught filmmaker and also promotes local talent on his own bus, which we are currently sat on. We will talk about that in a little bit, called the Old Farm Bus. Please welcome Michael Markham, or as most people know him, Rhythmical Mike. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you, Billy. Thank you so much for having me as well, buddy. Yeah.
How was that for a build-up?
Probably the best I'm ever gonna have and ever had. So thank you very much, man. That felt pretty good.
It's
warming
good,
hearing that.
So first thing I want to talk about is the first time we ever met. I think it might have been the last time we met as well. I don't think we've seen each other.
Last, yeah, I remember it well.
So we were. It was at the Maze in Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a little set on
God
my
bless.
acoustic, and you were doing spoken word.
Yes.
And there's a little bit you don't know about this, but I'm gonna tell you anyway.
Okay.
I was sat there waiting for it to start. I was there a bit earlier than you.
Yeah.
And 3 fellas walked in, and I thought, oh my God, they're gonna hate everything I'm about to do. Oh, they're gonna be rowdy. It's gonna be horrible. Oh, they're gonna hate it. But I thought, oh well. Some people's better than no people. So yeah, and then you got up and did your spoken word. I tell you what, I'd never heard spoken word before. It's not really something I was into, and I remember thinking, wow, all my days. And then I don't know if you remember me coming up to you afterwards.
And
I said to you, mate, you need to get yourself around all the schools and all the. I remember saying you need to do all this stuff. And now look at you. It's all because of me.
It was Billy's moment, yeah. But no, honestly, man, like meeting people like you, because that was very much at the start of my journey, and that was very much at. I don't know how far you'd been on your journey, but I remember feeling it was quite new to the both of us at the time, and just recollecting to what you said then as well about them guys being in there.
Yeah.
I remember so many gigs I've been to. I look around, I'm like, they are not going to vibe this because of that exact fact. There's who goes and sees spoken word on a night out, and I think it was a Saturday. I thought they've not come for this.
Well, you had two mates. You had 2 mates with you.
Yes.
And, I think you were all in like hoodies and stuff, just dressing as you do. Not saying nothing wrong wearing hoodies, but I remember thinking, I'm playing country pop music. Oh, they're gonna hate this. They're gonna start heckling. But no, it was amazing, and you had nice words to say afterwards.
Well, when we met as well, and we did have that conversation, it genuinely, because of people like you who come up and fill me with all that confidence, it really did push me on my journey, because it was an unexpected path for me, to be honest. I never expected to be into poetry, spoken word. I would have seen it and gone, what on earth's this guy doing? But something that I stumbled into, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the podcast, but instead of fighting against it and seeing people and constantly coming up against, what are you doing on there, mate? Like, why don't you try backing track doing this? I've met so many people going, mate, what you're doing's an amazing thing, or you're just speaking your truth. And it really is true. What you said then is a big factor to why I do what I do. Yeah. So
I'm sure a lot of people just think you're going to start rapping as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people mistake rapping. No. I do spoken word. There is a difference between the two.
100%. I mean, the abbreviation for rap is rhythm and poetry. Yeah. That's what it's always meant. But I do think there is a huge differentiation, a huge difference between both things. For me, I let people talk about this all the time, but I have built up a bit of an idea of how I see it. Yeah. And spoken word poetry, it's about the pauses. It's about that emotion you give to it. It's about the feeling and lots of them things that you've got to feed it. Rap, again, has got its own place where it's, you know, the rhythm, the complete different feel towards it. I've got lots of spoken word friends, rap friends, and we do intersect each other and cross, but I think it is good to appreciate the difference between it.
So let's start with talking about spoken word. When did that kind of start? When did you kind of... Because it's not a thing which most kind of teenagers or people at school go, you know what, that's something I love
thought
that.
about that, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Give me a bit of that poetry again.
Yeah.
Get in there.
So when did that kind of start?
Okay, man. Like, so I'm from Ripley,
Okay.
which is a place, and I don't always want to down it, but it's quite easy to do. We're known from breeding the BMP EDL sort of place.
Right.
You get in a mindset of what you may deal with. And it can be a small town mindset. Some places, please, if a Ripley person is listening to this and like, I'm very liberal. Yeah, we've got them too, and that's brilliant. But it has had a bad reputation and name. So I was brought up and I sort of butterflied around, living on a farm, but going into the schools and being a bit like footballer. I suppose you called me a chav back in the day. You might call me that. And I just remember getting to a point in my life where I became quite low, quite depressed, and struggled to find a path, find a passion. So, me being me, I went and did so many meaningless, trivial jobs, like working in Thornton's Chocolates, expecting the Oompa Loompas to be there, Willy Wonka and all that stuff. It wasn't like that. No. And I very quickly became a bit, let's say, depressed, very depressed.
Okay. Yeah.
I ended up one day, and I don't know what happened. I spoke to my friend. I said, I've got to get away from this.
Okay.
So I made enough money, and I booked a flight to go travelling, and I went to Australia.
Okay.
So I went to Australia for a year. I picked up my things. I learned a lot about drinking, a lot about just living a fairy tale life.
Yeah.
But again, not much of a passion. Now, I had the decision to make. Do I come back home from Australia for a year, or do I find somewhere else? So on my journey, I decided to look around, and I saw South Africa was an option.
Okay.
So I picked up and went over to South Africa.
Wow.
And this is sort of where the story does unfold and where poetry and spoken word came from. Now, while I was in South Africa, I've been away for quite a while, and suddenly I got a phone call one day, and it was from my dad. And I remember looking at my phone and just being like, "It's me dad. He lets me do my thing. You've seen him out there.
Yeah.
We look the same genetics."
I thought it was you when I saw him. Yeah.
And two things about my dad: ex-footballer and farmer, really.
Right.
So he's a dad lad.
Right. Okay.
Just lets me do my thing. So when I got this call, I was pretty excited. I was like, "Okay, let's see what he's got to say." Now, I answered the call. And what unravelled was just the most depressing call of all time, really. I was like, "Hey, mate, how's everything going back home?" Because he'd asked me about what was happening in South Africa. And he was like, "Oh, man, yeah, there's quite a lot of struggles, actually, you know. This person's ill, this is happening." One of my old mates had been stabbed in a knife crime incident in Derby, I'm sure you may have known about. And a lot of people do. And he just unravelled this, like, really sad phone call that I wasn't expecting. It just happened. And when I put the phone down, I decided to take the day off work. I was working in this monkey sanctuary looking after capuchin.
That's
mad
amazing.
world, man, mad
Went
world.
from Fortons to that. I love it. I love it.
I put the phone down. I took the day off and I sat in my bedroom and I just started writing. And it's something I'd never done in my life, because at school I was told dyslexic, stupid, couldn't hear anything I said, and anything I wrote didn't understand. So it was very unexpected for me, but I didn't care about spelling, punctuation, grammar, all these things, a subclause. I still don't know what that is. I just wrote about my mates back home. I wrote about everything you can imagine, and it was like the most cathartic feeling I've ever had. It was just like a superpower.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like Dora the Explorer with a pen. I was just running around like, I'm doing this forever.
So when the pen's hitting the paper, you not really know what's happening. It's just coming out, or
completely. It's like a conscious stream, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just hitting it's like meditation, really. I've tried doing that a bit more recently, and it is the only way I can explain it. It's very meditative. It's very, it's just soul healing.
Yeah.
And I think everything for them, like 20 years, all just came out at once.
Yeah.
I cried a lot. I healed in one, and it's just the most amazing feeling.
Yeah.
So that happened, but I kept it to myself.
Okay.
I was never showing anybody. I just was like, this is something I love and I want to do. So I wrote everything down. Then I flew back home because I actually felt like I'd been given a purpose then, or I'd been given a passion. I was like, I can go back home now. I've got something to say, or I want to show something. So I got home. I had a few drinks with my dad. I think I got some Dutch courage. And I just looked at my dad and I just went, Dad, I've started writing poetry.
Right, okay.
And my dad just looked at me and he went, you up? And I genuinely remember just being like, yeah, I'm really enjoying.
He's about to cane me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this path, and he just looked at me and he went, all right, like,
Yeah.
and I just said, can I perform you a poem?
Okay.
And he just went, go on then, lad. And honestly, we'd had a few drinks, but I was still really nervous. I had my paper and I was shaking. Yeah. Never perform a poem when you're nervous with paper in your hand. And but I was doing that, and I just looked down, performed this piece, but got quite into it and performed it. And I looked up at my dad, and he was crying. Wow. Genuine, and I was just like, it's only a poem. But exactly, I'd never seen it before. I never experienced that, and he he was genuinely crying, like really moved by it and emotional. And I was like, wow, I've never felt listened to before. I never felt anybody cared what I was saying, what I was doing. And that was the first time in my existence where I was like, that's just done something to somebody I love and matters to them. And he was like, right, I need to get you in an open mic. Yeah. So we literally, like, down the road, our little local, and I'd gone and again shaking and performed down there to about 9 blokes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I look up and they're all listening and they're caring, and I finish and they're high-fiving me and everything, and it was just that moment I felt a complete different person that I've never met before or experienced before, and it snowballed. It really did snowball.
And I guess you were kind of expecting a typical manly response of
completely,
what you're doing.
I don't want to say it on your podcast, but you know these sort of things you'd get to you hear from blokes.
But so when you're writing these poems, does it come naturally, or does it happen at random times, or?
Do you know what, man? Like, at the very start of my journey, it really did, because there was just so much I needed to get out. There was so many times I reflected and I was like, oh, I've got an opportunity now to go back to that, look at what that was and write about it. And I spent about that year of discovery just all in my living room writing, trying out new pieces, everything like that. I think with all creativity, there's stages in it, in your journey. And mine's got to a point now where I had about another year after that where I calmed down a bit. Okay. I felt healed. I felt like I'd done the things I needed to say and do. And then it was a bit harder to find the material I wanted to speak about. And I had to live life again a little bit and experience things to report back again. Okay. But I'm just getting back to that area now where I've gone into the music side of things. Yeah. And it's become more fluid again. It's become easier because I've had new experiences to report. Yeah.
Well, that's actually what I was going to come on to next, because you've been working with different artists and stuff.
Yeah, loads.
Recently, Jerry Collins.
Yes,
I noticed. Yeah. Who's actually someone I want to get on here soon.
Oh,
I think
he's got a great vibe.
Yeah, I've heard. I've never met him.
Have you not met him yet?
I might have met him at doing a local gig. But I've never properly spoke to him.
I had a good one-to-one chat, and
I've heard from different people. He's
an
very
experience.
He's a very wicked fella, we'll say.
Yeah, he is. I've only got good experiences and great words to say about him. And everything he's done for me and my journey, it's been amazing.
So he had a track recently.
Yes.
That was played on BBC Introducing.
Yes.
Dean Jackson. Yeah. So how did that song come about?
Yeah, and Radio 6.
Yeah,
BBC,
yes,
so
sorry, yeah.
I was buzzing about that. Again, I met him at a gig with Johnny Ollie.
Okay.
We went to see Johnny Ollie's gig, and I just connected really well because he doesn't live too far away from me, actually.
Right,
He's about 10 minutes, so we've got a lot of the same reference points that we can connect
got
on.
You.
So I saw him there, and I was like, "Oh, I've seen a bit of your work, man. I love what you're doing. You've got a lovely sound."
Yeah.
And he was very kind back and said he'd been seeing some of my stuff, and we just had a. Why is everything got to start with? We had a drink.
Yeah,
but, no, we did.
It's always a factor, isn't it? It's it's somewhere. Yeah,
I like that saying. No good story starts with "I had a salad."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but we sat down and got connecting over this, and we said let's try and see if we've got a track. Have you got anything you think we can work on?
Yeah.
And in his ridiculous catalogue of all these songs that he never released, he said, "Yeah, I've got this like beat that I made back in the day."
Yeah.
And I said, "Send it over and see what you feel." And he sent me that track over, and honestly, within half an hour, I'd wrote everything I'd wrote for it. It really connected with me.
So it's very easy.
It's very.
process.
Do you know what? I love the streets. I'm a really big fan of the streets, and I couldn't get them out of my head when I was listening to it, and I was like, "That's got such a streetsy feel and vibe to it." And at the time, there was a story that I wanted to connect on. I wanted to write about. I knew exactly what I had in mind, so it fell all into place from that. It was like the perfect song, the perfect emotion that I wanted to create, and it all fell down from that. So half an hour, genuinely.
Yeah. Well, that's especially when it's someone who you were saying earlier about this area, someone who understands the same kind of thing. It must be good working with someone like that. So who else have you done music with?
So
I know there's quite a few.
There's been a few recently. But do you know Mount Street Studios in Nottingham?
Yes, I do. Yes,
amazing studio. Really enjoying with that. So I've got a new album coming out soon.
Wow, here we go. Here comes the plug.
Little plug.
Go on, get the plug in.
But I've always loved lo-fi sound. You know, like lo-fi hip hop and things like that. So I messaged round all the people that I knew made beats and had that vibe to them. So I've been working with loads of different producers of different beats.
Okay.
And then I've started meeting all the different people I wanted on them tracks.
Yeah.
So it's been a really collaborative effort.
Okay.
Loads and loads of people that I just really respect in music.
Yeah.
When I went to Mount Street Studio, I had Johnny Ollie come down. Me and him have done 2 tracks together that I'm really proud of. Honestly, it was, again, one of them times in the studio that we didn't know what was going to come out of it, but it just clicked. As soon as we all got together with a guy, Charlie, who owns the studio, they're just musical geniuses. They really are. They pick up any instrument and just give it life. And I felt that. So I just got to sit in the corner, start writing and let them jam. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, yeah, let's go with that sort of vibe. Yeah. I wrote stuff to it, and then Johnny and me sort of had a chat about the chorus, and we had 2 songs at the end of it. So that was a great experience. Stingray and the J. Have you heard
not
of
personally, but I'm always ready to find out new stuff.
Amazing. They're jazz, hip hop.
Oh, nice.
Everything.
They're not 2 genres you normally hear together.
They've got the whole shebang together. So again, another studio in Nottingham, been going, like, meeting them, doing some films for them and stuff like that, and again, sort of skill sharing. Yeah. So I've borrowed a few of their vocals for some of my stuff. Okay. So I just got to this place in music where, you know, I've got a lot of friends. I've had this before, and a lot of people are trying to make it. Right. And we just come to this conclusion recently with a few of my mates where it's like, we've made it because we're making it. Yeah, yeah. And it's this concept we've always been trying to, like, get to a level, get to this stage, get somewhere. And this album is literally all just about, like, I'm happy because I'm doing it. That's enough for me. I just want to create things I'm proud of. In 5-10 years' time, I can look back at and go, oh, what an amazing time. So the whole point of this album's just been I want to connect and chill and meet cool people. So
when do you think that'll be out?
Fingers crossed. We're going for, like, July time.
July time, right?
Yeah, around July. But I've got a lot of them all done and dusted. Yeah. But again, I want all the artists to say that's perfect for me as well, because I don't want to bring it out if they're not happy.
If
with
they're not
it.
happy, yeah. Are you gonna gig with all the artists, or as many? I'm sure it'll be hard to get them all in one place. For one
definitely.
Evening,
I mean, the next gigs we've got coming up on the bus,
right.
We've got some workshops coming up and things like
Nice.
that. But we've got a Rhythmical Mike and Friends, which is on the 8th of May.
Okay.
And then the next day we've got a mini festival. So Maith is coming up.
Nice.
So the night before Maith, the festival, I have got most of them that are on the album coming. So
you might be able to.
I've not told them they're going to do something,
but they are. But you're going on.
Yeah.
You're going on. No matter what you say, get on stage.
Just vibe together, because I'm going to try and keep it as spoken word as possible.
Yeah.
Because I want to go back to my roots for this gig and sort of like just have a nice a cappella set together. But there will be opportunities where people can come up and just jam and have a good time. So
I think one of the things at the minute is, especially in the Midlands and especially in Nottingham, there's a lot of bands and artists that see other bands and artists competition. And it's kind of, well, we're bigger than them, or with whatever. So it's good to see collaborations instead.
Completely,
of you're not better than each other. It's about
making.
You don't see a lot of that anymore or recently. So it's good to see lots of artists.
Yeah, I think it's
together.
different areas, man. I've been around the block a bit, but there's something to me personally about Nottingham scene, where we connected for that first time and last time until today. That just has this attitude of togetherness, and there may be places that I haven't been, and well, there'll be lots of places I haven't been where they have that, but I have tried different communities in different areas where I just felt there was some, like what you were saying then, cliques.
Yeah.
And well, you're not part of this scene or anything like that, and I've felt the outcast in places, but I've always felt welcomed by Nottingham, and I've even seen people come for the first time and they've always just said, what an amazing community, like what an amazing group of people, and they just want to help one another. So most of the acts that I've got in, so we had Derby, a couple of Leicester, but it's Nottingham. It really is.
Nottingham is where it's at the minute. I know Derby and Leicester have got a little bit going on, but for some reason Nottingham in the last few years have just, it's unreal.
It's exciting,
especially
man.
with the music and stuff like that, all that stuff, and it's amazing. But the thing is, I've noticed with a lot of bands that if a big-ish band, I won't say any names because that'd be harsh, need a sport act, like they won't help out the little guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Where they're the ones that need it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
100% understand what you're saying now.
That kind of needs to stop.
Yeah. Well, man, you're starting something here, so
it definitely.
I think again, these things that you've noticed and experiences you've had are important to address and talk about. So
definitely.
I'd like to hear if you have a big band on or anything like that. I'd like to hear their thoughts on that and experience with that, because obviously everyone starts out at the bottom.
Yes.
So how you do get to that next level, it is good to recognise that they need help and support.
Yeah. So let's move away from the music side stuff.
Yes, man. I have brought a book out. Yes.
How long ago was it? 6 months, maybe a year?
Yeah, but I'd say let's go 8 to a year. 8 to a year.
And it's called Life's Beautiful Game.
Mate, you've done your research. Yeah, mate. Oh, you'll be getting a copy after this as well, man. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you very much.
Remind me at the end.
Let's talk about the book. What's the book about? How did it come about, and that kind of stuff?
So it is a poetry collection.
Nice.
Life's Beautiful Game, and again, I just had a massive catalogue of poems.
Yeah.
So many, and I never was gonna put a book together or bring it out, but I work for a company called Independent Thinking. And they're the fish that swims the other way when they're all going that way. So they go in education, just say there is another way.
Okay.
And they are the most inspiring, amazing people I've ever met. And one of them, Hal Roberts, when I went to one of his gigs, he was like, so when are you bringing a book out? Because they've all got books that are amazing. He's got a book out called Oops, which is tricking kids into learning. It's
okay.
amazing. And I was just like, I don't think my words are for paper. I don't think they're for reading. They're supposed to be performed. But he just said, mate, it's just a souvenir. It's just something nice for people. They've seen you, they like your stuff, they interacted with the material, they can go home and look at it. So why don't you just do it for, you might get a tenner at the end of a gig or something. And it was literally as simple as that. So on that day, I went home, really determined. I got that when I go, I'm going to get a bus. It's just like, right, oh,
and it doesn't leave, when that happens, it doesn't leave your mind. It's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Probably like you with a podcast and things like that. So I've got a bit of an addictive personality and I try and channel that in better ways now. So when I do stuff like creativity, art and music, I really go hammer into it. And I went home, I decided the one thing I wanted was for each poem to be illustrated by a different artist.
Wow.
So I got in touch with, I had 50 poems that I was like, these are the ones I want.
Yeah.
And I got in touch with 50 different people that I thought or knew did art.
Yeah.
So I got in touch, got everything together, put this big database together, and just started creating and making. And within about a month after that, it was ready for publishing nearly.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, I'm really not going to sit here and say to you, it's the best thing I've ever done. Yeah. It's the most amazing. But the thing I really like is having little timelines and little, so people can see I started here and this is where I went next and this is what I did next. And I look back at, I love where you can hear horses.
You can hear
sometimes.
horses and stuff. That's wicked. I was like, oh dear.
So that wasn't me, people.
Yeah, there's a horse.
So I just like looking back at my stuff now, looking through the book, looking through some YouTube videos, things like that, and I can just go, you know what? I'm really happy because that was part of the timeline. Yeah. And that's what the book is for me. There are some pieces in there that I'm really proud of, and there's some pieces in there where I'm like, oh, if I was to do that again, I would tweak this, and this. Yeah. But I'm really happy as it is.
So when you do your lectures and stuff around the universities and schools and stuff, are you talking about the book or is it different every time?
It's more, I'm asked to go to a lot of schools that are struggling to get their students into writing, creativity, naughty boys you might see. And I work a lot with teachers and try and help them and guide them into strategies and techniques and exercises that I found work for me. And I tell my story and how far from the path I was before and where I was at. And then I explained that if I was just nurtured a little bit more in my writing and given the ability to go where I wanted to go with it, you could have get them on side. And that's how I try and work with all these kids.
And how is it with younger kids? We'll say primary school.
Primary school, man.
Do you find they listen, or have you had a couple of situations of, oh, that kid's really not listening here?
I suppose.
Or is it been
I've got better at it. So I've been doing it for years now. And I've got to a stage where I think my talk is perfectly designed for that crowd.
Got you.
Yeah. And, at the start, I may do poems that are a little bit too mature or not that I'm swearing and doing crazy stuff, but just a little bit, the words and the lyricism is a bit too much for them to take in. So I've taken that down a notch. My stories went on a little far, so I just I've come to this stage where I break it up with icebreakers and fun activities, then get them back in and have a chat again. And it's more fluid now. It works well. So I've had them experiences.
Yeah, it's gonna get better as time goes on because you tweak stuff and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
So back on the book, are we gonna get book number 2?
Not at the minute.
Life's next beautiful game. There you go.
Life's not so beautiful, guys. That might be the one.
Are we gonna get another book, or we're not sure?
Not at the minute, man. I think my next journey is this music side of things because I'm really trying to find my steps with it. Right. You've always learning, and I got into the sort of rap style things, but just with my own style to it. Yeah. And it didn't work so well for me. Like my rhythm, I've always struggled with that on off beat, and at the start, I was really uncomfortable with it. So that was something I really wanted to investigate and see what I could do. And now I've been doing that for a while and using these sort of more chill, lo-fi hip hop beats and things. I've started to find my rhythm and my feel for that. So I'm really developing myself in that way as an artist at the minute, and it's something I think was always in my heart where I wanted to be. So my complete focus and direction is in the music side of things, and bringing that to visual life. And doing I do think
it's best also to focus on one thing at a time. I think if you dip into lots of different stuff, then
can get confusing for yourself,
and it sometimes doesn't come out as good as it probably could be if your full attention's on it.
100% agree with that.
So you're sticking on the music.
Because what you just said then, I've done that before. I've been spinning so many plates, and again, if it's 3 plates, you're sort of okay with a bit of film here and there. Add that with a bit of music, you're cool to go. But I've definitely gone, do a business here, do something there, and it has all fallen before.
You definitely need full attention on.
And when one collapses, it can actually sort of domino the other things.
It can affect.
I'm not good at this. Oh no, I'm not good at that. Oh, forget it all. So or maybe that's just me.
I do think it's like that for most people. So let's talk about this bus we're on.
Wicked,
the old farm bus. So, but obviously it's a podcast, so you can't see. But I'll put some pictures up on social media. We're sat in an old school bus.
Yeah, the American style old school bus.
Yellow, school bus, and it's completely cleared out, and there are chairs, bean bags, pretty lights, and everything. And where we're sat right now is where band's set up.
Yeah, this is the stage, mate. Yeah.
Okay.
Well happy about.
So how did that come about?
Go for it. One day, my car broke down, and I thought I got to get Derby, and got on a bus and thought, why not get one of these? No, it's not true.
I was like, what?
No, I'm joking. Basically, again, living on the farm and being involved in the scene, meeting you and all that. I started to meet like Motormouth and amazing Nottingham artists. And they all started coming over to the farm, and then we basically used my living room as a jam space.
Right, okay.
We had little like guitars set up and things, and we just have people come over and have a really good night. And it did turn into a little bit of a drinking session again.
Okay,
I'm so sorry to say.
As it
and it was an amazing time in my life. I had the best time. I met the best people, and I've grown so much because of it. But there is always that other side of things where it become too much. I maybe abused my body a little bit too much. I was not sleeping. I was just like Motormouth would go, and then Dathan Shruzik had come in. And it was just a bit too much for me. So I discussed ways with my partner Chrissy, and I thought, like, how am I gonna still have these moments and these times, but just not have them overruling my house a little bit? I love you guys, and I'm so happy we were there, but I'm being honest, I needed to have my own space back a bit. So we started looking at Wendy homes and things like that, and they look amazing. But they're like, I don't know if you've looked for any ever, but they're about like 20 grand, 30 grand for a decent one. And that would have been cool because you got like a studio space, maybe a little kitchen, all them things. But this was in a time where the farm has suddenly been put on the internet. By all the local people. And I was like, what's our farm doing on there? And it was the Blueprint Pictures. And they were basically discussing in our area and surrounding areas about the green belt and brown belt of all the surrounding farms and fields. And our farm was in the heart of it. So my mum and dad then got to a point where we didn't know if people were coming to buy, coming to have the land, or what was happening. So this was all in the midst of me trying to get a Wendy home. And I was like, if I get a 20 grand building put on here and we all decide to go or whatever, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be gutted because that's my dream. So we again started discussing and saying, well, what we're going to do? Like, how can we move it with us or do anything like that? And one night we put on Netflix. We just decided to chill out, get something cool on. And there was this, I don't know if you've seen it, but like Tiny House Movement.
No, I haven't seen it,
and there's this one called like Amazing Homes. Things like that.
Yeah, that kind of show.
We just sort of like, let's just see what this is all about. And honestly, it was the best thing. They were on boats. They were on like little weird ships, and you can
there's
all
one
these
where
areas.
Isn't there a train?
I've seen that one. I love that. And then suddenly, this American couple had a bus, and it was just like, Chrissy, they've got their house on a bus.
Yeah, do you know what? This was going to be my next question. What does your missus say when you say, I'm about a bus?
Yeah, do you know what? I have the most amazing supportive partner I think there's ever been. Like, she is so down with it because we're both into creativity and that sort of thing. She saw it as an opportunity for her too, which is great. But she anything I say, and I do say the maddest things sometimes, she's just like, yeah, 100%. That's a great idea.
That's what you need, isn't it?
So yeah, we saw that. We looked at these people building a house on there and a home, and I just decided that was my goal then.
Yeah.
And I was going to look around for buses. So honestly, the next day I'm at the gym and I'm just talking to the blokey blokes and just be like, do you know, mate,
anybody got a bus?
Do you know anything about buses and where you can get one? It's the daftest thing. But that kind of worked for me, you know. If you don't ask, you don't get.
I need a bus.com.
Yeah.
That's what
we looked on eBay and all these places, but it was a random guy that I met at a pub, and he was just like,
you do.
and he was just like, yeah, I know a guy that sells and buys and sells buses, and I was like, where's he from? And it was like Warrington.
Okay.
Which is where my grandma's from, so that was quite a nice touch, bringing it all back round. And we went on this under the motorway to this really like sketchy yard.
Yeah.
And a dog came out, and I was like, oh, this is going to be it, innit? And there was this sort of first guy, and he came out, and he's like, you know that, you like dogs? And I was just like, yeah, mate, I'm so sorry, Chrissy, this is it. And then we met this guy, and he was the loveliest chap, and he just showed us around this yard, and we were looking for a double-decker. Right. And it made sense because we wanted a studio space upstairs, and Chrissy could do her workshops downstairs. Okay. But then we'd seen on the double-deckers, they were just really, like, low. Yeah. Like, the headspace just wasn't good for us. So we're like, oh, no, our whole dream's gone. Yeah. And then he started showing us around, like, all these single decks. And, again, like, you can imagine, they're really high. And I looking around, and they were cool, but they weren't exactly the vibe I was going for. Yeah. So we went around the corner, and there was these yellow buses. And I was like, that's like The Simpsons, uh-oh, and all that. And I was like, Chrissy, what are they? So we went and spoke to a guy around there, and he says, yeah, I've just had these in. They've been all over the world. Some were in Portugal. Some were used in film sets. This actual one was on a film set of a BBC. Okay. Yeah, it said Stagecoach all over it. So they've all got really cool stories. Yeah. But there was a couple that we met there, and they'd already sort of nearly done one to live on. Yeah. So I got to see the space straight away, and I got in, and I was just amazed. They sectioned it all off. They had a shower. They had like 2 dogs and a little room for them. Yeah. And it just turned it into this amazing place. So I was like, that's what I want. That's where we're at. So
I really hope my dad doesn't hear this, because he'll buy a bus and turn it into a camper van or something.
Mate, make sure he does. This is the thing. This is the new.
Oh dear. Well, so when it comes to the actual performance on the bus, how do you? Is it just mates, or are you looking for artists, or how's it kind of work, or is it just random?
Well, it's been crazy. Like, the first one was, it couldn't have gone any better. Yeah. We had Concrete Rose, Johnny Ollie, and Chloe Rogers from Concrete Rose, who's an incredible artist. And that, everything we do, we want, with the idea, we wanted to do like an NPR session or on sofa, a sofa sound. I've always loved them. It's all about the music. It's all about the artists. Definitely. It's about creating their vibe and silence in the crowd.
Yeah, I love that sofa sounds that goes round. They just pop up anywhere. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Started in the living rooms and stuff like that.
Oh, I love it.
So I've always loved that, and that was the first idea. I was like, right, we want to create something of similar to that, but in a different space, which happened to be a bus. And I got a really good sound guy, so the sound's always as great quality as it can be. A really good camera guy called Herbie Rowley, and Tristan's on the sound. And we've created this look that I'm really proud of. Yeah. It's the first session, we had these 3 different films back, and they just look really good. In honesty, it went on my YouTube. Yeah. And suddenly I was just getting offers from loads of artists just saying, oh man, could I do a busking session? Yeah. I never expected it to go like that, because I thought it'd be a hustle, and you've got to keep going and finding acts and saying, I don't suppose you'd come on this bus in the middle of nowhere where it's going to be cold and on a farm.
It's a bit out of the way.
It is,
but,
man, yeah. And I really did expect it was going to be really tricky, but we've just had artists keep coming to us and saying, I don't suppose I could get on the busking session and things like that. And honestly, like recently, we have people from America, like people from New York and stuff saying, what you doing is amazing. Yeah. I'm doing American accent now, but like, man, I want to be on that. But I've had really cool artists from all over just saying, I don't suppose we could get on that. I'm like, I don't know how the logistics of that's going to work, but I would love it. So I'm hoping it grows. I really do.
So when's your next one?
The next one is the 21st of March.
That's March.
So well, we're in March, aren't we?
We're in March.
Brilliant.
This will probably go out April.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that one went really
well.
well.
Next one's just gone.
I'm making this up as I go along. I don't know when anything is going out.
We've got one on the 21st of March coming up, and that's got Shruzik, Archphemesis, and Space Dolphin.
Nice.
So very
Space
eclectic.
Dolphin?
Yeah, man.
That needs explaining.
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you
who are they and what do they do?
The reason behind their name, but all I can tell you is, and I really mean this, they're one of the best bands I've ever seen. And
what type of music is it?
So it's my vibe,
right?
And it's like lo-fi hip hop style.
Nice.
But they're just very instrumental, very experimental.
Yeah.
I can't start rhyming now.
Yeah, I was going to start dropping a beat out of that.
And the brilliant thing is, the three artists, so they've got bass, a guy on keys who is just a dream, and then this again jazz drummer.
Wow!
So can do some double time stuff, but they just keep moving around instruments and just doing different bits and bobs and just mixing it up. And they usually do like half an hour of their material, and then they have a jam.
Okay.
And then they'll just get people to come and like rappers and poets and artists to come and cypher with them.
Nice.
And the last one I went to see was at the Jam Cafe in Nottingham, see them play. And I just couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
Yeah.
It was like, I think they'd been on an hour, and I thought it had been like 20 minutes because I was having so much, I was so in the moment, having so much fun. They were just crazy, and it was just like flying. So, amazing
I feel
band.
like I need to get them on here.
Please do. They're from Leeds, but Jake Matthew is the guy that set it all up together when he went to Leeds. And he was in a band, he was with Motormouth in a band, and I can't for the life of me remember what they're called.
Okay.
But they were really cool together. So, I got in touch with them, and I'd never expected them to say yes. But I was so excited when they did.
So, after that one in March, when's the one after that?
One in March, then we've got April the 18th. These are all in my head, man.
You got this, ain't you?
I'm on it. So, April the 18th, and we've got Daisy Godfrey, Ollie Hensby with a guy called AJ.
Okay.
And that's going to be and so is Daisy. It's all going to be magic there.
Yeah.
And then Tasha Bird.
Nice.
Do you know Tasha?
I know,
don't you?
I've never met her actually.
Okay.
But I follow her on social media and I've seen her play, and she's on a whole new level. She is
100%.
unbelievable. She's another person I'd love to get on here.
I'm sure you will, man.
So wow, and that's a good bunch of people.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much booked up till July.
Wow.
Yeah, around the end of July and stuff. So it's all
going
pumping at the minute. Yeah, 100%.
And have you still got emails kind of trailing back where I've got to get these people?
I've had managers messaging me.
Have you?
Like people like going, my artist would really, and I'm like, hey up mate, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hello,
yes sir.
Trying to be really professional about it. Oh, so we are the Old Farm Bus, and I've got a lot of emails I need to be honest to start answering a little bit. It's being having exact what we were saying earlier with the plate spinning. I'm trying to make sure I do pick that direction because I've got the email for the Old Farm Bus, the email for Rhythmical Mike, the email for Camera Mike Action, and I don't want it to spill again and get to that place where I'm not enjoying it because it's become too much. So
if you have if anyone out there has emailed you, he will get back to you.
I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. He will get back to you.
And I don't want to sound like really egotistical either. Like, I've got all these emails to go through.
Yes.
But I don't. It's not that. It just is. put on a lot of things, and I've got them avenues that I'm doing, and I'm trying my best to, like we said earlier, stick to one at the minute. So because I've got the busking sessions kind of booked up now, I've just gone, right, calm that email down, focus on the other sides of my life. So
Wow. So you did mention then, the last thing I want to talk about is your, let me get this in the right order, camera mic action. Is that right?
Mate, you smashed it, because I always get it wrong, so you did better than me.
I think you should just change it to mic camera action.
It's so much easier. I've had two or three people message me like, mate, you messed up on that name.
Swap it around.
I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit disjointed when you say it, because obviously everyone expects it to be mic camera action.
Yeah, I had to pause and take a think. I'm like,
exactly.
Which way is it?
I thought if I go for camera mic action, it'll maybe be more memorable, but I think that's just a pretentious, like, silly idea that.
Well, I've remembered, so it's fine.
Man.
There you go. So what's that about, and what have you done so far, and plans and that, all that? Tell us all about it.
Again, man, like at school, the only sort of lesson they used to let me go to at the end of it when I was like not enjoying it, so misbehaving, was media.
Okay.
I sort of just connected. I was like, right, I'll just stick my head into a computer screen, let the world go, and enjoy this. So I got into media at school, and I really enjoyed it. We made some of the craziest films that you can imagine, entered stuff into like film competitions and little things like that. And I always had a passion and love for it.
Yeah.
So then when I finished school, I didn't do anything with that again. There was no films or media again. And then I got into the poetry thing. I met you guys, I met the music scene and everything like that. And I had a few films done for myself.
Okay.
And I loved it. I met a guy, James Reeder, who's an amazing filmmaker. Met Herbie, met all these filmmakers, and I was like, I used to do that.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just get back into it and see what I can do? So again, I went and bought, in my head, about a week later, I was like, right, get some money, get a Mac, go and do that again, get Final Cut, all these things. And I just started experimenting and seeing what I could do again. So I bought a real startup kit.
Yeah.
Really knackered camera, and just started like putting on a tripod and filming myself and doing bits and bobs. And then I had mates start getting in touch and saying, "Oh, mate, I like what you did there. Do you think you could do me a music video?" And I did. Nearly one of my first music videos was for Concrete Rose. Have you seen those guys at the minute? Reggae band from Nottingham.
Yes, I have. Yes,
amazing. So I did their video. And they wanted to do like a homage to Nottingham, and like, just say thanks for having us. Yeah. Because Lewis was the lead singer, was in Unknown Era. Okay. So he built up a bit of a following, and know Lewis. Yeah. But he was always the bass player. So just to see him come into his own, everyone was so excited because he was like, "What? I didn't know he could do that." Yeah. And he built the drummers from Ferocious Dog, so he got him on board. Wow. And Alex, who's obviously an amazing drummer, but then he wanted to get into reggae drumming, so a new step for him. Just built up a really cool group of lads. Yeah. And we made this video, which again took us a day. Yeah. And suddenly we put this video online the next day, and it went like 50,000 like it just did the rounds, and it was like people were loving it, brought a really cool vibe, and I was like, well, that was just a laugh. So I really enjoyed it.
So is it something you're wanting to film other people, or is it more kind of your own stuff and
other people friends? Now? Yeah, making other people's films and visions is kind of my favourite thing to do at the minute, as well as obviously my own projects and stuff. Yeah. I love going and working with an artist, discussing really creative, wild ideas. I worked with a guy called Shruzik the other day, and he went around Nottingham again, but in his pants. And and he was being led around by Motormouth. So this is with a rope, and I was just like, well, my life has got to a new level, but I'm never going to be bored.
Was you just looking at people? I'm just the cameraman.
Please don't shoot the cameraman. I didn't make any of this happen. I'm just filming it. But no, I again, he's an artist. On the next coming busking session, Shruzik, who's a performance art guy, and he's just doing amazing things in music and expressing himself at the minute, and I love it. So I've done documentaries and loads of little bits, and it just seems like an avenue that really speaks to me. I can be on Final Cut. I don't know, you must have this with music and all your things where you're sitting there, and then Chrissy comes home and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Are you home now?" And it turns out I've been on Final Cut for like 6 or 7 hours.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
I know the feeling.
What? I didn't know what's happened. So I think when something speaks to you and touches you like that, you know it's for you.
Yeah. So. Yeah, she's come home before and I've gone, "Did you forget something?" And he's like, "Turns out she's been gone 2.5 hours." And you're like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, I feel like I've touched on most things you're doing.
Mate, I think...
Have I missed anything?
Honestly, we've got the buses, I've got the film thing going on, I am a poet. I'm just having a lovely time at the minute, man. Podcast is something I'm fascinated by, and thank you so much for having me on.
That's right. No worries.
I want to explore this realm myself, so it's been really enjoyable. And
lovely.
Yeah, you're a good host.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still getting my feet wet, but yeah, hopefully as time goes on, it'll get better. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
When I decided to start, I had a list of 10 people, and you were always on the
mate. Thank you so much. That's a lovely thing to say.
I'm glad you agreed to come on, and I'd love to come down to the old farm bus at some point.
You
and
do
maybe
a busking session?
Maybe, we'll see. But
I do want to know where you are with music now.
Yeah, I'm sure I could.
I loved your set, man. I really did.
I'm sure I could come up with a tune or two. But yeah, I'd love to come down and interview the different artists and maybe get them a bit.
That'd be a lovely idea.
Get them a bit of exposure and stuff. But
just do like a little roll on, roll off session.
Yeah, just
right. You're done with that. Get off. You bought your ticket. You're out.
So yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It's been wicked. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you on social media before you go?
Blue. So yeah, Rhythmical Mike on literally Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. Rhythmical Mike.
Yeah.
It's
and
tricky to spell.
Camera mic action, not mic camera action.
If you go on Rhythmical Mike, I'm sure you'll find all my other avenues and things like that.
Lovely.
So yeah.
Thank you very much. You're from the first one. I have no idea how to end this. This is the thing,
mate. The start and end's always the tricky bit.
The first one
I'll
ended.
Let you do
the first one ended with Ben going, "This is the end." So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to end these things. So I think it'll just cut.
We're out.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's a question.
There you go.
Big love, man.